to straighten things out. He said they beat one, they stoned another. He said he sent some more servants, they did them likewise. And then finally he said, look, I got to send my son. Now I know they need to listen to the son. This is my son. And they said, hey, we got to get rid of him quick because he the heir. So it's the same old thing. So he's telling you the same thing Jesus told us in the parable. He sent his servants rising up often and sending, but they wouldn't listen. But he did it because he was merciful. But let's see what they did. Verse 16.
But they mocked the messengers of God.
They mocked the messengers of God. That's what Jesus said. They mistreated them, beat one, stoned another one. Go ahead.
And despised his word. And misused his prophets until the wrath of the Lord rose against his people till there was no remedy.
See, it came to a point where there's no remedy. So now I got to let the vineyard get torn to pieces. Go ahead, 17.
Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young men or maidens, old man or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
See, that shows you who is doing this. You're not just going to be in somebody's hand by accident. Or it's not just because they got more power than you naturally. No, it's because God is giving you into their hand. That's why Israel is in the predicament that we are in to this day, because God gave us into other people's hands. He said it right here. Yeah. He said he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary. He said, you didn't want to do right in the sanctuary, I'm going to have you killed. And he didn't have no compassion upon young man, old maiden. It didn't matter. You could be old and stupid. Hey, the Lord let him deal with you. He didn't care. But now let's go further. Go to Matthew 23. Let's see what else Jesus said. Because again, it started back in the old days with Israel, but it continued all the way down to Jesus' time. And Jesus is going to let us know that it's still ongoing. The vineyard is worse than ever now. It's totally destroyed. And then somebody might say, well, the Lord got rid of Israel, so it's up to us Gentiles. Now, I'm going to tell you, if Israel done messed up and the Lord done got rid of them for the time being, the Gentiles don't have a chance. No. They don't have a prayer because he said, Israel only have I known. They don't have a chance. That's why the world is the way it is. So this little story about this vineyard being Israel has affected the whole wide world. Whole wide world is polluted because this vineyard messed up. Matthew 23 and 29. Let's show you it's still ongoing. Again, people want to make the New Testament out to be some pretty book. Oh yeah, see, Jesus just came and he changed all that bad. So they don't even want to read the Old Testament. But really, they don't want to read the New Testament. Because it's telling you the same thing. Jesus is going to tell you the same thing. He's going to tell you basically the story continues. And it's going to continue to go on to the end. Matthew 23 and 29. Go ahead.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous.
See, now, this don't sound like no fun time Jesus having, is it? Because he know these wicked people are steadily messing people up, and they trying to argue with him when he's trying to tell people the truth. That's what happened all the time. You try to tell people the truth, Satan going to have somebody right there arguing, because Satan orchestrating all of it. The serpent is behind all of it. He behind the many pastors who destroyed the vineyard. He was behind the chief priests and the Pharisees. So that's why Jesus is dealing with them, though. He said, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. He said, you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. In other words, these religious leaders in Jesus' day, all of them knew about the true prophets like Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel. All of them knew about them being persecuted and being killed, right? But these religious leaders of Jesus' day act like, they was with Jeremiah and Isaiah. They even took care of their graves. See, this is the grave of Jeremiah. He was one of our great old prophets. But look, if you would have been back with Jeremiah, Jesus is going to tell him, you would have been the one killing them. Now you can like him because he dead. He okay now. He ain't saying nothing. He ain't speaking against me now. He's a good old guy now. This is put some flowers around Jeremiah. That don't mean nothing. You would have been against Jeremiah if you would live back in Jeremiah. That's what Jesus is going to tell you. See, so it's easy to portray one thing when they gone. Just like now, you got all these preachers say they preaching Jesus. They would have been the very ones at the head of the list saying, crucify him. Because he would have been making them look stupid. He would have been preaching something that they wasn't dealing with. They would have been saying crucify. But now Jesus is not here. They can say, oh, yeah, we love Jesus. Praise the Lord. It's the same old thing, just a different generation. So he said in verse 29, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. Oh, yeah, you take care of their graves. But what? Verse 30.
And say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets.
You a lie. See, that's what they say. That's what they say. I bet you the average person, you ask the average preacher tomorrow, which is not the Sabbath day, he's going to be observant. You ask him, well, you think you would have been one of the ones against Jesus, you would have been on Jesus' side. Oh, no, I would have been with Jesus. No, to be with Jesus, you would have had to been an outsider, brothers and sisters. You would have been in the mainstream. See, all these preachers, this is the mainstream we got out here.
Yeah.
They are the problems with the vineyard. They the ones keeping the vineyard messed up. So they said we wouldn't have been partaker with the blood of them we wouldn't have been with partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Verse 31.
Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves, that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets.
Go ahead.
Fill ye up then the measure of your father. Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers. How can ye escape the damnation of hell?
Don't sound like the sun is shining and the birds are singing when Jesus talking. He'll do it. Jesus letting you know things is messed up with these people. And they the ones supposed to be leading the people. That means it is messed up. But when we say stuff like that, they think, oh, you know why we need to just get along. Don't be talking like that. We all believe in God. You a lie. We don't all believe in God. You believe one thing, and we trying to believe and go along with the Bible. The Bible say the seventh day, so we observe the seventh day. No ifs, and buts about it. And that's just one example. The Bible say the kingdom coming to this earth, and all these people believe they going to heaven one day. So Jesus let it be known. He called them what they were. He said, you vipers, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell?
They can't.
He said, you in trouble. You know they didn't like that. See, instead of repenting, that just made them angry. They didn't know who they was dealing with, though. Verse 34, he knew what they was going to do. Remember, he gave you the story of the vineyard, how they killed all the prophets. Then he turned around and sent the son, and they said, oh, we got to get rid of him in a hurry. So he knew they was getting ready to kill him. He wasn't ignorant of that fact. Go ahead.
34. Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city.
See, he said, look, you say you wouldn't have been killing the prophets. He said, I tell you what, I'm going to send you some more, just like them. And you going to prove what you would have did in the old days, because you going to do it now. And see, the proof is going to be in the pudding now. People who say they wouldn't have been against Jesus, well, he going to send people to preach his word, just like Jesus was preaching, and they going to be against us. So if they wouldn't have been against Jesus, hey, they won't be against us, because we ain't saying nothing but the same thing. He said, we talking about the vineyard. Wasn't Jesus talking about it? He gave us a parable of the vineyard. We telling you how messed up the world is, that it's not all rosy and dandy in the world. That's what Jesus was doing. But people don't like the way we preach, because, oh, see, you know, that's too negative. But no, the truth is the truth. So he said, look, he's going to send you some more, and you're going to kill them. You're going to persecute them from church to church, synagogue to synagogue. And from city to city, verse 35.
That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth. From the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Berechias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar.
He said, look, you're going to get you a taste of all of this righteous blood that's been